Pezza, I don't know if I've got it in me, mate. I don't know if I've got it in me again to go around this again. Like, what I love about like Olympics and away Ashes series, that like you really do remember where you were, especially on 9/11. But like I remember 4 years ago exactly where I was. We've spoken about it many times about where we were watching the Headingley Test match, how we felt about that. Joe Wilson's impact on our lives, Ben Stokes on our lives, all of that. I'm just watching this game, man. I'm like, I don't know if I've got it in me again. Before I throw it to you, I should say this episode is brought to you by Budgy Smuggler, budgysmuggler.com. Use the code goodareas at budgysmuggler.com or budgysmuggler.com.au for free shipping. Pezza, have you got it? Have you got it in you? Have you got it in you to go around again?
Not really. Like my eyes are being held open by clamps. You know, like I'm like everybody else. I'm so grateful that this series is happening. You know, it's akin to like a football World Cup. You're just like, it is a smorgasbord of possibility and like euphoria and exhilaration available to you every single night. You know, doing it on the Aussie time zone, and there's no gaps between games anymore because the players are pawns and we wheel them out as is our wont for commercial reasons, and they can deal with their issues later. But like, I'm the same as you, man. It's like this series is not taking the rhythms that I'm used to. Like, it is just relentless back and forth, ebb and flow, parry and thrust. Somebody please go ahead in the game for a bit so I can just adjust my psychology, you know? It's actually rude how close these guys are all the time. The series is strange and dizzying and heady and throw some jet lag and some bad sleeping patterns on top of that and children who want to co-sleep. And, you know, I'm a mess. I suppose I'm meant to be grateful for it. The Aussies just, like, as the tortoise in this narrative, they're just riding. You know, like I'm waiting for England to just fucking open this up and get ahead, but they keep letting us back in. And last night we let them back in. I suppose we're meant to be happy.
These all sound like law firms that turned me down. Ebb and flow, parry and thrust.
Yeah.
Epstein and Maxwell.
Exactly. Ebb and Flow is actually Ebony Rainford Brent and her friend Florence, their latest band. It's
from
Florence Machine.
Yeah.
Cool. And Parry and Thrust is a law firm opened by Craig Parry, the former Australian golfer, who looks quite like my father-in-law.
There's the first thing I want to talk about. When are we ever going to get this fucking code out? When are we ever going to I'm sick of it. I'm sick of getting teased with the carrot. Just like, ooh, mate, that's going to be a big lead. Maybe that leads too much. Oh, 5 6s in a row. Fuck!
Yeah. Now
everything changed. This guy is a fucking freak, man. He's so fucking good. Mate. And it's like, and then I start getting annoyed that he's injured. I'm like, oh, now he's on one leg, is he? Oh, fucking this guy. This guy on one fucking leg. Oh, disabled car space, was it? Oh, wowee. Oh, taped knee, is it? Fuck me.
Mate. Yeah.
You know, I'm getting annoyed.
Yeah. Now we know how that, that Wagner group felt trying to get rid of Putin, you know? Like, can we just work hard and get this cunt out? Yeah, I mean, it's only respect. Like, I mean, Stokes is... But this is final boss gear, you know. You're 8 years old. You're playing your 64 or whatever, console is part of your life, and you just don't know how to fuck this bloke off. You know, like, oh, I'll go for the leg. Nah, he just grows another leg. That's not what you do. Like, the guy is Cyclops, just mowing everybody down in his sight. You know, like his lasers out of his eyes, just going. Fucking like buildings fucking destroyed everywhere. He's like, and you're right, like doing it on one leg like adds to the mystique of it, you know, like, is it a knee? Is it a glute? Is it both? Like, he's wincing while he's hitting sixes to every part of the ground. Everyone gets a lick, you know, like old Gil in The Simpsons. Like, can I have a catch? Yeah, you can have one too. All good. You know, I agree with the injury thing. It makes it worse. It's like, you know, you're trying to change a tire and like then just some old bloke comes over on a prosthetic leg, you know, just fucking hobbles on up, jacks the car up himself, got a bomber jacket on. Does the thing, doesn't want any credit for it. He stinks of stale smoke, gets it done, walks off back to blow his money on the trots. You know, he's been to Vietnam, he doesn't want to talk about it. Like, that's Stokes. He's like, yeah, all right. Oh, I'll have to do this again, do I? You know, it's like a teacher coming out at to play cricket with kids and just wants to even up the scores. Okay, I'll have to fucking bomb a couple of sixes here just to sort of get this close. You know, like, yeah. I don't know. I don't know what to say, man. I can't see him ever getting out. I mean, this game's over, isn't it? Right? So it's like, what's going to happen again? Are we just gonna have him fall for spit again? It's like, well, what's the point? And we're just gonna have to watch him fucking just mow it down when he feels like it. I might block a couple, just sort of just get it to the right point of tension, and then I'll just bomb it. Get it done in 20 balls.
Mate, it's so weird because he does that thing where he gets squared up a fair bit. You know, he often finds the shoulder of the bat, and that's where he's been caught a gully in like third and fourth sip quite a lot in his career. And it's sort of like a lot of the times he'll just run on the ground as it does with many batters and just runs down for 4. And you're like, okay, there's something there in the wicket for him. And then it's like, oh, I've decided now that between 24 and 36 and over is where I'm at. I'm just going to do that now.
Yeah. What's your proclivity today? You know, like the guy who got in trouble for looking at a certain type of pornography from his fiancée, you know? She's like, oh, I didn't know you liked that. He's like, no, I just like that now. he's like, I heard that story. You know what I mean. It's like he's like, I'll let Woody bomb a couple first. That's good. I'll just sit there. It's like, okay, now he's out. Well, I better get me skates on then. That's what it's like.
So, mate, it's unbelievable. I mean, so England were 8 for 167. They finished with 237, 26 runs behind Australia. And you know, what are you going to do? It just, mate. You know what's even more upsetting is the guys hit 13 Test hundreds and he averages 36.
It doesn't matter.
This is a guy who averages 180.
It doesn't matter.
What are we talking? 36. What the fuck are we talking about? It's the best batter I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's right.
Second thing, Pezza, Cummins had a magnificent 6-for. We had a message from Joel on Patreon. He said, sister is on paramedic placement at the moment and just had a chair thrown at her in a nursing home. Little did she know she was just watching Cummo nicking cunts off and missed the window. I got to tell you,
she called for security, and there was a misunderstanding. The guy who threw it is just
Cummins just got it going through here.
He's got root for the 10th time. It's not far off.
He's got Rudy.
Yeah, I'm just trying to throw a chair through a window here.
I got to tell you, mate, the WhatsApps were blowing up in Australia when Root nicks off to Cummins. Good catch by Warner.
What was it?
Second or third ball of the game?
He certainly let us know about it. Oh, that was actually moving through the air. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah, that was very difficult. Yeah.
I tell you what, they have been given the advantage this series, Australia, by England just dropping literally anything.
Yeah.
So it's just anytime you take a catch, like, oh, fuck, it's a hard seam ground, especially on a Wednesday. Anyway,
that state ball, that was sort of Roberto Carlos stuff, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, Bartes could have actually got across there.
But yeah, when that happened, I was like, that's a big moment because it was a good day for batting, you thought, and obviously, you know, then Stokes does his thing. But anyway, but Cummins ends up finishing 6 for 91. He hasn't taken many Ashes fifers. In fact, before this game, I saw a stat that said that Mitch Marsh has now got as many Ashes hundreds as Botham and Gilchrist, and as many fifers as Cummins and someone else.
Who's good?
Yeah, someone else is good. So
Cummins
hasn't got that many in the bank.
Cummins hates a 3-for and a 4-for. You know, like that's where he hates it. That's his kind of wheelhouse. You know, he likes to share it around or whatnot. But I feel like Cummins is trying to rise to meet the Stokes challenge. I mean, all he's actually doing is coming into bowl and guys are getting out to him. I don't think he goes, I'm going to rise to meet the Stokes challenge for the meta-narrative that journos need to push. But it does look like two fucking colossal fucking Godzillas coming up to chest each other on the final day. And I have Headingley PTSD from last time that happened. So it's pretty good gear, really. So long as my team wins.
Yeah. I was thinking about narratives just when that was going on, and then obviously Stokes completely changes it with like such a crucial 80 in the context of the game, and perhaps even the series. Who knows? But
and our lives.
But indeed, but just even my weekend. Certainly my weekend. It's actually ruined my weekend. I'll get to that in a second. But yeah, because but before then, I was just thinking about like preparations for the Ashes. You know, England got fucked up in Scotland on a golf trip. You know, Australia did their Liverpool thing. And, certain guys went to the IPL, other guys didn't. You know, Pat Cummins didn't do it because he's obviously got to play the World Test Championship final and hopefully all 5 Ashes Test matches. Some of the England guys looked tired. Mark Wood even looked tired at the end of today after bowling now 20-something overs in 2 days. Stuart Broad's played 4 Test matches in a row if you include the Ireland game, and you will. Jimmy Anderson's been rested. So I was just thinking about the preparations, and then obviously that all changes. But it is still remarkable for an Ashes captain to have to play this amount of games in a row, and with the workload himself, and with the amount of fucking shit the guys had to put up with ever since he got the job, really. But just in the last week, which has been it's just been embarrassing, and I can say that confidently because I've had so many messages from friends in the UK being like, I've actually found this uncomfortably embarrassing. Not everyone has, that's fine, whatever, but like that's just the way it is. But so just to have all that workload, and then to consistently perform and consistently match up really well against their best batter in Joe Root, who's obviously scored 100 in the series as well. Just fucking props to the guy, man. And he looks great with a black eye. So good morning.
Well said. Nothing more to add. That's a lovely tribute, but that's only today, and he better deliver tomorrow and every other day.
I'm gonna fucking knife the coat if he doesn't win the game tomorrow by himself. Pezza, I'm now going to talk about the start of Australia's innings, and we're obviously now doing what's giving you crow's feet, a very popular segment on the show, and obviously what's giving you crow's feet is brought to you by Budgy Smuggler. I just want to give the etymology because a lot of people ask every day what the etymology of crow's feet is, and it's basically something that happens in the day's play that makes you that causes you to squint so hard and crank your neck that you get such crevices underneath the eyes, crow's feet, if you will, that it's sort of jarring. Like what am I watching here now? Stuart Broad nicks off David Warner for I think that is 92 times now.
Yes,
in this series. Now, Stuart Broad's dad, Chris Broad, is on Twitter, as is his wont. Now, I'll just jump to his Twitter. Chris Broad, his bio says, I'm a match referee for the ICC and love all sport, particularly cricket and golf. Tweet 8 hours ago now, as at time of recording. It's Bart Simpson on the chalkboard with David Warner's head saying, Stuart Broad has got me out again doing lines on the chalkboard. What I wouldn't give. That gives me crow's feet pretty. I mean, basically anyone's dad on the internet gives me crow's feet anyway. But like, I mean, an ICC match referee just getting behind his boy. Hey, you got to get behind your boy. Don't get me wrong, but like,
it's different.
I'm a bit like, mate, what are you doing?
Nah, you don't understand,
Dad.
Well, I think if you respond to that with anything other than just pure deference to the brilliance of the comedy, aka he's brilliant, Chris Broady. He's brilliant. He knows what he's doing, and he's a treasure, Broady, Chris Broady, that is. Then you're rattled. So yeah, okay, you may have called out someone's dad using a Simpsons meme to encourage and promote their son, who also has in their bio, I'm an ICC match referee. I mean, not for me to say whether that is watch list stuff, but it's not for me to say, and I won't say that. But yeah, no, you're rattled. So yeah, I'd be moving right along from that because that's brilliant for me.
So
I like
on
that
stuff, Pez. The third thing is the biggest day of the Ashes coming up. Now, it just happens to fall on a Saturday, so that's fucking brilliant. This will be the biggest day until the next day. Speaking of being rattled, obviously, Steve Smith chips one to mid-wicket. Bairstow gives him a send-off, and then I just saw so many comments saying, like, well, Bairstow's in his head here. Smith absolutely rattled. And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. I mean, he's right. So before then, Marnus plays a fairly horrendous shot. I mean, both of Moeen's wickets in the context of the game are just absolute gifts for England.
GIF.
It's indeed, yeah, just sort of 3 to 4 second animations. reflecting something that we feel deeply. So, and then before that, Warner obviously nicks off to Broad. Great catch by Zach Crawley. Wokes gets Khawaja out. I think there's a bit of a pattern there with Wokes getting Khawaja out, actually. And we finish the day, Australia 126 runs ahead. They are 4 for 116 or something like
142,
that.
142, 142 ahead.
So it's 142 ahead, 142 ahead, 4 for 116. Head is on 18 and Marsh is on 17. But those two, we get to the end of the day with from Moeen. I mean, they were so fucking.
Oh, mate,
so soft.
I think that's changed the game. I think they're desperately poor dismissals and uncharacteristic of both guys, but it's happened. And I mean, to me, it's aside from, Australia being 8 down at Edgbaston and the trend looking like, they were going to go through Australia and win that game famously, like, this is the most ajar the door has been for them. And I also think those two dismissals are very against the grain for how Australia's played this series as well. I mean, Australia has managed to just stay with England, be patient. They've avoided collapses, losing wickets in clumps, like, providing England momentum which they crave, but on this occasion, Marnus, who'd just about done the hard work to get through Mark Wood, who was again a bit down on pace, which is no shame given he was about the speed of light yesterday, but still pretty difficult to face. Marnus just about got through him, apart from Johnny dropping one again. Just played a dreadful shot. It was a dreadful shot to Mark Wood. To Moeen Ali. There's no intent, no commitment. It was loose. I heard a stat that he's slog swept 6 times in his Test career and been out 3. So it's not his shot. That's a mental lapse. And then Steve Smith's just given catching practice to blokes. I'm not going to get on his back about it. The Bairstow chirp, there's nothing in it. Johnny can say what he likes. Anyone making a thing out of that is doesn't follow cricket. That's crow's feet for me. And I mean, you're ballsy chirping being the biggest symbols that has ever been seen in the Ashes so far, but that's his call. He can do it. And there's nothing. There's nothing wrong with it. And if you do react to it, you're rattled. So
yeah, that's right. I think as well the context of those wickets with Ollie Robertson being off the field, not bowling,
exactly.
And also Mark Wood looking like he's only really got he's been economical and he's bowled well, but like he's definitely down on pace, and that really leaves you with Wokes and Broad to do a lot of heavy lifting. Broad obviously playing his 4th Test in a row. And Wokes has bowled really well in this game for sure, but it's just in the context, like they can put some fucking work. They could have put some pain into England in that innings, and those dismissals were desperately poor. I get that.
You know what though? Look, in and of themselves they were, and they've just absolutely opened the door back to England. It's inexplicable really, but fair play to England. Like those wickets in and of themselves look. Uncharacteristic, as I say, but to that point that, Stokes and also Moeen with that spell had tightened the grip on Australia. It was vice-like. It was boa constrictor-esque. There weren't many runs coming. The field setting was correct. They couldn't seem to generate any momentum of their own, Australia. So they were reward. Moeen goes to 200 Test wickets. Not bad. And overall, it was a really good spell from Moeen, even if those wickets were gifts. And when you bowl spin, you're going to take a gift or two here and there because you're going to bowl really well and get hammered at different times. I mean, just a shout to Todd Murphy as well, who I thought held his own pretty well against fucking Cyclops Godzilla there first time around. So, it is also credit to England, who's surged back into the match. And the way I see it is Australia's on the ropes. I've got no reason to see why the lower order will do something, but particularly if Wood gets some rest and he can crank up the heat tomorrow. So there is a shitload resting on Marsh and Head, and Carey, if England can get through them, Root doesn't miss out often either. It's up to Australia now bring themselves back into the match. That's how I see it.
Hashtag AskTGC. This one is from @user QQ60E8
should be good.
XU9L. Ask TGC, quick comment on Warner. I've always been contempt with Warner and his offerings to the national team, his cocky personality, i.e. passing Taylor and Bradman on 334. But fuck, this head noise has gotten the better of me as someone who has suffered themselves in country club cricket. Anyway, the question is as follows. Where is Kakovsky and Harris, more specifically Ralph Harris, and how can this influence a nation? Cheers, boys. Keep up the good work. Yeah, I've seen a lot of things after. Obviously, Stuart Broad makes that 17 dismissals, so it's right up there with the all-time most dismissals for one batter against one bowler. Warner has batted okay. He's batted okay. He's just done enough. He made 60 something in the last game. I thought he batted quite well in the World Test Championship final. I don't know if Broad's going to play every game. He's obviously got that one issue with that one specific bowler, but he seems to match up okay with everyone else. So I'm happy with Dave Warner playing the rest of the series. There, I said it.
Yep, I agree. I think if we're going to be if you don't play Warner in the next game, you're retiring him essentially.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't think you can specifically answer that question without looking at the replacements that are there. I'm a big fan of Harry, the guy, but I'm not sure that the door's been bashed down by whoever might come next. And you're right. I think that the returns from Australia's openers, that partnership that they've been able to establish at least a couple of times, is better than I've seen for quite a while in England. I'm pretty happy with it. And that's a great call, great shout about whether Broad plays the next test as well. But yeah, I suppose, there's just so much that can happen between. This game might end, right, tomorrow. So that's just going to inform so much of what happens afterwards. So I agree with you. I think Warner's for what it could have been has been overs so far, I'd be persisting.
I've also seen some commentary saying that Mitch Marsh should open and get Green back to 6, so that'll do for me, boys.
Yeah, nice one.
I reckon Nisa to open. All right, well, Pez and I will be up all night, as will you, Australia, and hopefully the people out there in the UK having a great time as well. We'll be at the end of the day's play instead of waiting a couple of hours as we have this morning. So hang in there, Australia. Hang in there. See you guys tomorrow morning. Cheers.